Hello everyone, welcome back to another live video on the UK Urban Prepper with our special guest of, as always, Brian, Scottish Prepper 73. How you doing, Brian?
Yeah, good, mate. How's things?
Not so bad, not so bad. Are you glad to be back in the safety of your attic?
No, I'd rather be in the van, mate.
You'd rather still be bugging out in drifts of snow.
Where I was on Wednesday night, it's supposed to be -20 this evening. So I'm a bit kind of cut up that I take him home, but the cops are coming to check a new gun safe, so to be here. So I've lost basically 2 days. I'm not a happy hamster.
Were they happy with the new digital setup?
Yeah, it's all good. It was hanging off it. So they're
Literally.
literally like that. If anybody's never had one done before, checked, they'll look for gaps and see if you could put levers in it and stuff. It's really good that they take such an interest. So it's good to see.
Cool. In the chat already, we have Reese Omega, Miss Worm, the moderator, is in there to keep you all in check. Zebra Prep, Anomity, Chris82, Border Wanderer, Gary Crawford's in the house, Jay the Grey. Loving seeing all these green names for the members. Love it that you're all members now. It's great. Sam Willis, evening everyone. Hope everyone is warm and well. Polonium is in the house. The Hungry Tourist is here. Pat Riot, Whiskey Jack J. I won't get to all your comments tonight as usual because, you know, I'm old and I can't keep up. So you've got the options of block capitals with the word question if it's a question or a super chat or anything like that, and I might be able to spot it, or Brian will spot it at some point. We've done this live because Brian's been spamming the WhatsApp group 2 days straight. What's going on, Brian?
Basically, the big problem's wind. That's the biggest issue.
That was the curry. Sorry.
For me, it's the Pepsi. But there's an ongoing issue with wind prior to Christmas, and now we've had such a dramatic shift to renewable sources, but we didn't have the same uptake of storage capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had an event where we've had a lot of flat wind, essentially. We've got nothing. So we're now having to fire up the spare capacity, which is in the shape of, in our country, it's older gas-fired stations in standby mode, which we end up paying through the nose for because they're only told when to fire up or asked to fire up when there's a need. So they can basically set their price. Yeah. And they're setting their price.
Yeah, and this has hit the mainstream media now, right? We've got Sky News reporting Britain's gas storage levels are concerningly low, with less than a week of demand available. The operator of the country's largest gas storage has warned. There's a little graph here, which shows the gas storage, and we can see where we are there, and the average range. The minimum average range up here.
There's an element of politics in that. They wanted the government to invest in more storage, and they wouldn't pay the money, which, shock horror, underinvesting in energy security. Who would have thought? So they haven't done it. So there's an element of point scoring here. So because it's been an early advent of winter, and there's been limited wind, and we've used more gas to generate electricity, we've used up 40% of our gas stores already. And we're in the start of January, basically. As of today, we were burning gas-fired stations. We're producing about 57% of your power. And on the charts that I kept spamming people with, yes. So the big problem is we are not an exporter. We are an importer of power at the moment, for the most part, because we've shut down so much stuff and we haven't replaced it. We have an issue. So if the interconnectors, what we were using yesterday, importing from predominantly France, where most of the power's come from at the moment, we've doubled that today, what we're taking from them. At one point, it was about 17% of our demand was coming from cables across the sea, which, when we've got people accidentally dropping anchors and cutting shit, that's a problem. Because let's be honest, Mike, do you think nobody's watching this in another country, right?
Yeah.
It's
Seeing the
spammed all over the
vulnerability.
news.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
This
I
will
mean,
be getting watched.
this is the most I've seen. I don't go on this loads. It's not like when I do the solar monitoring, but I've never seen such a range of the imports where we've got French, Northern Irish, Norwegian, Belgium, Danish. Usually it's 2 or 3 or 1 or 2 of them, but we're getting almost 3 gigawatts from France at the moment. And like you say, what about if their capacity is dropping as well?
Do you know why we're getting it from France? Because they've got such an abundance of nuclear power stations.
Oh, that's an intelligent move. Why don't we do something intelligent like that?
Well, we're trying to, but they're 10 years over date and 13 billions over budget.
Yeah. This is it. This is the problem.
And they've extended the shelf life of the ones that we are using.
Right, but okay, devil's advocate here.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a perpetual state of energy here, right? We've not got mass gas storage. I remember all the big gas storage tanks. They used to be next to the football pitches down in Bolton where I used to play, and they're all disappeared now. So we don't have this abundance. We're kind of living, the energy grid's living like a lot of people are living, where they're buying a day's worth of shopping, right? That's how we're going. Yeah. So surely they're prepared for all this, right? It can fluctuate. We've nothing to worry about. He's froze.
It will fluctuate.
I've shocked him.
There was a point. There was a point on one of the forums I was reluctant to answer because I didn't want to get into an argument. Plus, one of the other persons was arguing quite well. But they had posted some of the warnings that I'd posted as well of capacity and demand and importing. Mm-hmm. And they were getting ripped a new arsehole for panicking people and scaremongering. Now, the people that said that the people that said that, their point is valid in as much as, yes, we can draw from Europe as part of an interconnected grid. That's fine to a point, as long as they've got spare capacity to draw from and nobody's chopped the bloody cables in half. But what they're missing is that fundamentally we do not produce enough power for our own needs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we will do if the wind turbines are spinning, but we're not storing that effectively or even remotely, right? We're just not doing a good job of that. So we do not have enough on-demand power. We'll talk about the grid backbone, which used to be oil-fired, gas-fired, coal-fired, that you could essentially flick a switch and fire up a turbine or a boiler, and you could produce power. So 7 o'clock, people are watching Coronation Street, they flick the kettle on at the intermission, you've got a surge, right? You needed that demand capability. You can't do that with a windmill if there's no wind. Okay?
Yeah.
That's a problem. So they've shut down a lot of the spare capacity in the grid, and they've not replaced it. They've built lots of wind turbines, but when the government are telling you we're net zero figures going forward, if we build these wind turbines, it'll be sunshine and lollipops. But what they're doing is they're front loading the figures. They're telling people, they've been disingenuous. They're saying, well, look, this is how much power they'll produce if they're running at peak efficiency 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. They're not taking a realistic average. So they're only quoting the narrative that suits.
Yeah.
And we're in a situation where there's no glasses. If we've got one or two of the gas-fired stations go tits up, we've got a real problem if we can't replace that capacity. Real problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But are we in that problem, or is it? I mean, we know this has been coming for a while, but what's triggered this sudden urgency? It's not just the drop in wind, right? It's the temperatures dropping. It's the spike in demand. How can we not handle when we're trying to push an electric infrastructure, EVs, stuff like that? How can we not handle this demand?
Because we're not doing any we've not done a long-term strategy, right? Mm-hmm. We're being sold a pup on electrification, right? So it'll all be clean energy. Have they any idea how toxic it is getting nickel and cadmium and cobalt for battery storage systems? It's one of the it's 500,000 ton. It's 500,000 pounds to make like a ton of cobalt. That's the figures. That's what it works out as. It's crazy, and most of it comes from the most horrific environments that you would put anybody in, never mind kids. Yeah. So
my car's cobalt free.
It'll be nickel metal hydrate probably. There'll be lots of horrible, nasty stuff in it, but we'll not go into that. But basically, we've replaced per production infrastructure that you could switch on from power production systems and infrastructure that you hope there's wind.
Yeah.
Right. Now I know if I flick a switch in a coal-fired turbine or a gas-fired turbine, there's a realistic chance it will go on for by any maintenance issues. But if there's no wind, we can't do anything about it. We could stand outside and puff and use self-esteem and hope it's going to go. It's not going to work. We need a balanced energy grid.
Yeah.
We don't have it. But fundamentally, we don't produce enough.
What's the cutoff though? Like what? I mean, the knock-on effect won't instantly be on households, right? They'll have other stuff they can cut off first.
Depends what their priorities are. Generally, they'll go for heavy industry and they'll pay them first. So what they usually go to is heavy consumers. So big factories and things, and they'll offer them money to reduce their what they're drawing off the grid. But that is if they've got time to do it in a controlled fashion. Right, that's if the look-ahead predictions is saying, well, we know from the look-ahead that we're going to have low wind in these days, so we're going to ask people to voluntarily reduce consumption. They'll issue notifications to the market to bid for giving them more power. That's if you've got time and warning. But if you've got unexpected outages and low wind, you don't have a lot of time to do that. You've got to do emergency contingencies, and that's where the problems are going to come in.
Yeah. So would it always be them having to pick and choose and cut people off? This couldn't just trigger everything goes off, or could it?
It would depend on, see, the system will be set, the network management will be done by computer, because to a certain, that they've got certain criteria laid out with NESO as well, and how things should work. Although when it did fail the last time, which was, I'm going to say 2020 or something, but there was low wind and an unexpected outage in a generator station, and they dropped 1.4 gigawatts of capacity, and they went to uncontrolled shutdowns. Now, in fairness, they managed to get things back up mostly in 20 minutes for most things, but the contingencies and switching arrangements that they put in place didn't work. Right. There was failures, and things switched off that shouldn't have went off, and things didn't switch off that should have. So the system dropped at the first hurdle, and they behaved in unexpected ways. So we're hoping everything works the way it would be expected to work.
Hoping, live in hope. Let's go to a few comments before we carry on. Horace Rumpole, would you advise anyone into prepping who owns a wood burner to stock wood for winter? Yes.
Always.
I would have, that should be your entire summer, should be stocking up for winter. Ideally, if you got the space and the storage, stock for 2 winters, not just one.
It's on my to-do list. I'd love one.
Yeah. They got rid of all large local storage tanks in the 90s, says Paul Thomas. Note, pound sterling value versus dollar is going down, so costs to buy gas or electricity from abroad goes up.
Yep. Also, we're in a captive market. They know we need the power. So when somebody knows you need something, they set the price.
Yeah. Russians love cutting cables, just in general. It's like a pastime over there. Those tanks you saw, gas weren't for storage. They were used as regulators to smooth out high demand times. They've all gone now, as it's done by regulating the pump's speed, says Kelly I. There you go.
Oh, like a pressure accumulator.
Yeah, every day is a school day. Thank you for that, Kelly. Aye, that's good to know. Carriage of No Return. So I like that name, Carriage of No Return, with the typewriter to match it. Power. We don't produce enough of anything for our needs, not just power.
Agreed.
Oh, here we go. We're getting political. Darren says Thatcher destroyed the coal mines. Bloody Thatcher, and sold everything, causing cost of living crisis. All boomers' faults. Yet they get the handouts. Logan's Run is the only answer.
I'll jump in on that one then. I was never a fan of Thatcher, and I live in a mining village, and I still remember.
From a mining town. Yeah,
I remember kids. Whilst my family wasn't working down the pits, a lot of the kids in the village, their parents did. And I remember them having to go to the miners' welfare hall at the soup kitchen. So I do remember it. And also remember the unions destroying the country as well prior to that. So whilst our reaction to trying to break the unions was extreme, there was faults on a lot of work-shy lazy bastards that didn't want to do a shift. So there's blame to go about. As far as the boomers bit, I've worked every day since I left school and I've had a handout for nothing.
There you go. There you go. So you send yourself to Carousel.
Great film, though. Excellent choice.
France shut down some nuclear plants for maintenance. Not sure if they're back up and running again. Have you seen wind turbines overloading and blowing up? Says Jay. There you go.
No, but we used to do a contract at work for looking after the lifting equipment inside them and testing the elevators.
Okay.
And when you do the rescue course on the turbines down in Kendal, you climb up a dummy wind turbine and then you climb over the side of the nacelle and you free fall down on a constant rate descender, which fairly makes the old tailpipe pucker.
I'd love to do that. Sounds like great fun.
It was not great fun.
Open the coal mines again. Billions of tons under Blighty. No, because there's too many Greenpeace protests, right? The problem you've got is any industry, right? It's got to be a viable business to do. It's okay saying open the coal mines, but everybody that's working down there is going to want much more than minimum wage. And the health and safety is going to be mental today compared to it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. The cost of opening a coal mine with current regulations is probably more than building a nuclear plant.
Would it be cheaper to import the coal from countries that don't share the same health and safety culture and don't give a rat's arse about the environment? You would be cheaper to import it.
If we did a little zone of the UK where health and safety was just negated, work at your own risk, and then we could open them. The WFA should go. Boomers inflicted Brexit, so must take responsibility. The triple lock must go. Pensioners are sponges who take more over life than paid in. Even with inflation, Logan's Run needed.
Right.
Want to answer that one, Brian?
You know, I'm trying very hard to be patient and polite here, and I might not get this right, but I'll have a go. With all due respect, I've worked since I left school at 16 and I've never stopped, sometimes 2 or 3 jobs at a time, and I assure you, any pension I do get, I fucking earned it, and I've paid in more tax than a horse can shite. So there might be people, and I know people have went to school with it, have never worked. I'm not one of them, and it's no fair to label everybody on the same page. As far as kids that are leaving school now, that I'll assume with the demographic that he's annihilating, that he's probably one of them. When you've worked for the next 34 years, let's see what your contributions are, and then you can slate the ones behind you.
Well, he's Darren, if you carry on, because his next comment is just ultimately insulting to pensioners and stuff like that. If you carry on, you'll go into a timeout. So just watch yourself now. We're all up for a debate, but you start slagging people off, it's not happening. It's perfectly possible to organise enough members of the public to have a mass switch on at peak times and deliberately throw the system into collapse. But would we want that? No. No, no, we don't. Well, sorry, Hawkins wants that because he's ultimately prepped for it and he wants to test everything.
We don't want it because on an uncontrolled scenario, things may break. And in an uncontrolled shutdown, things may not power back up in the manner in which you would like. And anything that breaks, you break it, you buy it. So the end user consumer, all of us, if we break it, we've just bought it and we'd be paying even more.
Yeah. Miss Worm in there with the fact checks. Darren Smith has gone into timeout, so you won't see his comments now. He wants to insult generations that are clearly better than him. You should be stocking up on the logs for the winter. Before the winter, you want to use them. Yes, you shouldn't be living hand to mouth. It's just common sense, right? I mean, people will do. If your fire's just a showpiece and you're not a prepper, yeah, you'll go to B&M's, buy your logs, burn them, and when they run out, you'll think about getting another one. But if you're any sort of prepper and you've got that facility, Jesus, stock up.
It's horrific how much they burn as well. Just how quickly you'll go through like a ton bag.
Neither of these guys have real fire or wood stove, which is unbelievable to me as they claim to be preppers. Ultimate heat, light cooking, water sterilization, and neither have one. Well, we don't have heat, light cooking, water sterilization, Brian, apparently.
Right. Nobody's got unlimited heat because you've only got enough heat for the amount of logs you've got. So unless you've got a tropical rainforest in your back fucking garden, with all due respect, you're in the same boat as the rest of us that are running on power of battery banks, because it's a finite resource that could eventually run out in any long-term scenario. However, I've never claimed to be anything. I've claimed that I will do my best to try and get through disasters or short-time situations, right? Despite the title saying Scottish Prepper. It's just a title. We're all just trying to do our best to get through situations that go bad. Having a power bank or solar panels doesn't make you a better prepper. Having a log burner or not having a log burner doesn't make you a better prepper. I would love to have one. Aspirationally, we want to get one next year when the coal chimney, we open it up and get it cleaned out and lined. But it's not going to make me a better prepper than somebody that doesn't have one. The same as if I don't have a life straw and somebody's got 20 of them. They've just got more particular tools in that toolbox than anybody else. Is there some reason we've got an abundance of assholes on here tonight? I'm just going to fucking throw that out there.
I don't know. Maybe the funky fans, the guy he's got a wood burner, but doesn't have any wood unless you send him a donation today. Fucking joke.
Honestly,
on that front, heat. I've got multiple heat sources, whether it's personal or the room. Light. I've got candles, paraffin lanterns, electric lights, all sorts, solar. Cooking, I've got about a million ways to cook. Water sterilization, I've actually got a reverse osmosis machine, as well as the Berkey filter, things like that. And heat, I've got different heat sources. I've even got a Kelly kettle that I could rig up and set up anywhere in the house as well and get some warmth off that and use next to no wood. You carry on burning your wood and attracting people to your house.
I would love a wood burner. I mean, I think it's a great thing to have. I'm not dissing the fact that he's got one. But everybody's got more of one thing than somebody else has got. It doesn't make you a better prepper. Aspirationally, the list of things I'd like to have and Mike would like to have, it's this size, right? But how many power banks has he got? How much solar panels has he got? How much spare candles has he got? How much spare food has he got? How much spare water? You could go on and try and assassinate people's preps. That's not what we're here for. It's a learning curve for everybody, for better ideas, right?
Yeah. Silverblade said the same thing. Reopening a mine that has been closed down is difficult, expensive, to impossible. Gas, water, subsidence, etc. Yeah, it's a nice thought to be able to do that, and it would, it'd be lovely to be a self-sufficient island again. But the practicalities, unfortunately, in the way we live, everyone's in block caps today. Oh, Darren Smith was banned and their comments removed. I think this worm's had him now. He was on timeout, but now he's gone. I've just got a notification. If the government hadn't lied to us about keeping us in retirement, then we'd all have made private provision for be living large. Yes, there you go. Unfortunately, difficult lesson to learn, but the government does lie.
They destroyed the private pension schemes when they did away with the final salary scheme, or made it impractical for employers. That's what screwed a lot of private companies.
Yeah. Like Brian, I started work straight from school, and I have worked for my pension. I'd like to say, even in the period of time I was unemployed, I never claimed benefits. Even I did odd jobs and just survived that way because it's just
I've never
the
had a
work ethic
penny
I've had. Yeah,
an unemployment allowance in my life,
no,
which
same.
I'm thankful for.
Oh, I tell a lie. Short period between leaving the military and getting my first job. I think I got 3 weeks worth of job seekers allowance, which back then was about 60 quid or something like that. It's enough to get the bus to work. Pensioners pensioners paid all their lives thanks to governments inflating the currency supply. £1,500 a month will buy less and less goods and services as time goes on. There we go.
£11,800 if you're getting the maximum state pension. If you can live off that, you're doing pretty well. I don't think we'll be dripping in gold like Mr. T if that's what you think the gold age pensioners are. Darren, who was kicked off.
Yeah. The non-preppers are about to be humbled, says Angie Lynch.
Let's hope it's a learning experience for them, and they might buy in a few candles or a few electric blankets or some different bits and bobs to try and make things better. Funky's barrister.
I can confirm my client has been picking up twigs from the woods this week. He must have seen my video. I'm sorry, guys. There's so many comments. I'm not going to be able to get through them all. I'm trying to get to the bottom so me and Brian can actually carry on with the conversation. So I apologize if I miss any. That's cool. It automatically stars them if they're super anyway, so I won't miss them. Brian. Right.
Yes.
This is the frequency, which I knew nothing about. Openly say, and I had an educational lesson round at Hawkins' house about this. But this is, if this drops below 49.8, that's when these warnings are triggered. And we can see this evening we've been getting close to it. 49.821. What's the effect of this then?
So sensitive electronics are sent. So what your frequency relates to, it will be in hertz, how your electricity is supplied in the grid, right? It hovers, they'll say it's 50 hertz, but it will range between like 49.5 and 52 or something like that. Too high or too low out with the frequency, it can damage sensitive electronics. So, but they want to try and avoid that. However, as a problem-solving measure, if they can't, to alleviate capacity issues in the short term, till they get capacity online, they'll piss about with the frequency. So they will say we've got a capacity issue, we've got not enough capacity. They may in the very short term drop the frequency down. And if they drop it below a certain point, they have to switch things off. So the last time they did this was a few years ago, and that's when it didn't work out the way they thought it was going to. So the spare capacity they had was 1 gigawatt, and one of the generator sets went offline and they lost 1.4 gigawatts. So they kicked off 950,000 electricity suppliers like that, gone off.
What, homes, businesses, or no stipulation,
Everything.
just random?
They switched off 950. There's a table and it gives you a percentage, right? I posted it the other day, and it basically shows you when at each point of percentage, it will trigger a fall off of users.
Right.
So in the first 5%, If it drops below a certain threshold, 5% get cut. And at that time, it was 950,000 people. So to put that in perspective, when the bad storms hit a couple of weeks ago, they lost 1.2 million.
Right. Okay. Bloody hell. Yeah. So, and what's the downtime on something when that happens? How long are we talking?
They had it back up. In fairness to them, they started to restore supplies within 20 minutes because they managed to online generators, fire up other turbines, get more from abroad and things like that. So there was 20 minutes before they started to restore capacity and services. However, the problem's always going to be that in an uncontrolled manner, things don't come back online. Things break.
Yeah. Kelly's Eye saying that UK mains frequency is 49.9 to 50.1 unless they get special permission to go outside of that. It's to do with the synchronous motors that also rely on mains frequency plus the harmonic distortion you get. There you go.
I've not heard that in a long time. Harmonic distortion.
There we go. I thought it was when I sing in the shower. That's harmonic distortion.
That's harmonic distress.
All right, okay. I knew it was something like that. Just in the cool, I've already read that one. In the chat, Angie Lynch said beginning of March is going to get real.
Why? So
Angie, please let us know why. We're always happy to learn. Pop in the comments what your theory is behind that. Amphia, I can confirm that electric hand warmers are a worthwhile prep to have. Yes, not just for your hands. If you bug out, if you go sleeping anywhere, throw them in the bottom of your
sick puppy.
No, what?
You sick puppy. Not just for your hands. What do you mean, Mike? Where have you been putting them?
You drop it in the sleeping bag like an hour before you go to bed, and it's toasty and warm. It's lovely. You don't do anything else with it, Brian. You know,
sounds like you're backpedaling a bit there. You've been caught out.
No one is coming to save you. So yeah, thanks for that. 16th of Jan, internet is going down. We've got 6 days left. 6 days left, apparently. There you go. I'd love for people to follow up these random comments with reasons. It would be more than helpful to the community, not just to us. Costco the other day had some good bargains on electric hand warmers. Thank you for that, Whiskey Jack J. Always good to know. Have heard electric blankets are an inexpensive way to keep warm at night. Brian, you know all about that. Have you had one in the van, right?
I did. I brought one with me as an emergency prep. I'd fitted a new diesel heater in the van, and whilst it was working, the temperatures are pretty sporty up here at the moment. The place it was a couple of nights ago is minus 20 now. So in case that went down, I know from testing that a single electric blanket on the little Anchor C300 power banks, so little small ones about that size, that'll run it in medium for about 7.5 hours.
Right.
So it's, even if the lights...
Yeah, it's a good overnight one, yeah. And if you need to, you get the whole family under one blanket. Old school. Any blackout in the chat? There you go. Let us know.
I'm lost on that one.
Spokane, Washington here. Hello, welcome.
Greetings.
They're all talking about retirement age and stuff in there. Sandy's like minus 20. Jeez, yeah.
Shorts and t-shirt weather.
Yeah. Over Christmas, my nan stayed with me and she brought every candle in my area. She needed a suitcase just for them. There you go. See? Generation that's prepared.
Gran is the ultimate prepper.
There you go. Car windscreen washers pump packed up today, like driving in fog. I've got the all-season window wash stuff pre-mixed, like the when you buy the 5-litre tub from the garage, just when you're caught short, sort of thing, not the concentrate. In both of our cars, it froze in hers the other day.
Do you know what I did in the van? Because I've had it before. The the toilet in the van's an electric flush, so it's got a reservoir of water and chemicals and things, and it's frozen before. So when I put in the chemicals in the water, I added half a cup of antifreeze as well, and I did that last year as well. It's never frozen since.
Yep. Hedge Wizard because he was getting a... Why does Hedge Wizard get a go? Can we all have a go?
It's the hand warmers all over again. And that's when the conversation took a sinister, dark, sexist turn.
I'm loving the comments. We don't even have to say anything now. Does seem an unusual amount of, let's say, other-minded people on this evening. There is, yes, but I mean, we're all open for that. Listen, anyone in the chat doesn't agree with what we're saying, doesn't agree with anything we're saying, doesn't think we're the world's ultimate prepper because we claim to be that all the time, then by all means, have a conversation with us. But be an arsehole and start insulting people and slagging people off, and you'll just get kicked. But we're more than happy to have different opinions in the chat all the time. I found this one, Ryan. And this is live-ish. I think it's live as long as you refresh it, as it were. And up to 10,000 is quite acceptable. Everything stays blue. But there's currently customers out 2,006 in England, 655 in Wales, and down and so forth. I don't know why we've got the Cayman Islands and Bermuda, but
don't know if you can see it. That one's quite a good one. It shows you by region and numbers as well.
Well, I found them like that, but like this, where it was just random. So this is one, Scott. This is National Grid. Then there's a one for this area here.
Oh, this one does the whole UK.
All right, you'll have to link that for everyone.
It's an app, so it's a Power Track app.
All right, okay. I couldn't get an app on the screen, but
and it's pretty good. It'll show you the whole UK, and you can go in by region, and it'll show you active and restored power cuts and numbers and stuff. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning while we're here. You can learn all about power cuts on the government prepare site.
What does it say? We don't give a crap.
Keep battery or wind up torch. Consider. You don't have to, but consider keeping some bottled water and non-perishable food that doesn't need cooking, such as ready-to-eat tinned meat, fruit or vegetables, and a tin opener. Consider keeping a tin opener. Just consider.
I mean, it's worth mentioning. It's not all doom and gloom. They have started to put projects in place over the last few years, but they're not doing enough. And what they've stated that they're doing, it's not going to meet current demand. So the 2035 net zero target, forcing air source heat pumps, taking out gas combi boilers, forcing petrol and diesel off the road and putting electric cars in.
Yeah.
The plans that they've got in place for new generation and enhanced capacity. So they're putting in new interconnectors between Scotland and England in a loop around the East Coast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're also putting in new transmission lines. But planning and legal challenges have already went in against half of those because people don't want them in their backyard. And in order to meet the wind turbine targets alone, we would need to double capacity from what we're building now.
Yeah.
So,
and what's the build time on them?
Mate, I can't mind. I'd looked, and it was basically it was like building the pyramids. They said they built the pyramids in 20 years. It was one of these sort of ridiculous statements. It's not even humanly possible. And they were putting figures out of something like 540 gigawatts of capacity that they think they'll need. And then the industry watchdog that I'd looked at and our couple of groups had said it's actually closer to 780. So already what they say they're going to need, what they say they're going to build isn't going to meet demand. And incidentally, that's if they actually build it on time and to budget, which we've never done. But they're building 3 new large battery banks in Scotland at the moment.
Is this not the ones they try to stop because they were eyesores?
Different ones. One's in Colborne, just outside Lesmahago. It's on top of an old coal mine. And
That's safe.
Yeah, what could go wrong? So they'll power. I'm going to say something ridiculous like 1.3 million. It was something like that. Homes, so they'll store power for those amount of homes, but for 2 hours, right? That's your buffer. So
2 hours and it's drained. It's done.
Yeah, it's gone. It's toast.
Excellent. And how much is that costing?
I've no idea, but it won't be cheap.
Okay.
Well, put it this way: I was $5,000 for 11, 12 kilowatts of batteries. So I would shudder to think how many need to power that amount of homes. So I'm guessing the sticker price is going to be at a smidge higher.
Yeah, just a smidge. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Norfolk UK Prepper says, we will be without power in under 1 week, according to GB News, because of the UK government.
I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. Because the wind forecast for the next 14 days is set to improve dramatically. So we'll have more capacity when the turbines start spinning again. So I don't think so. That'll alleviate the pressure on the gas, and that'll give them time to get the gas stores partially replenished. It'll certainly cut the demand. So if the forecast is accurate, because these things always are, right, then the next 14 days of wind forecast are good.
Well, Friday night is likely to be the coldest on record, according to Sky News. Temperatures could fall as low as minus 20 degrees C. This is Celsius, by the way, for our American friends. So you do the math. After UK records coldest night in 15 years. Check that out, that picture in Durham. That's awesome.
That'll be funny for people with electric cars.
They
won't charge.
Minus 4 Fahrenheit for our American friends. There you go. What's that?
Your car won't charge.
It won't charge.
Won't charge. It's too cold.
It's too cold to charge. That's a great excuse to not go to work.
So it's you ain't going to go anywhere.
Well, it's fully charged now, so it's all right. It just needs to
the charging process tends to create some heat. So what they sometimes do is in the batteries, the BMS also controls a heating process. But as a rule of thumb, below zero, LiPo batteries and that kind of nature, they don't charge.
Instead of antifreeze, would a cup of salt also work?
Well, antifreeze is just ethanol glycol, which is sugar and alcohol. Hence why it tastes sweet when people try and test the concentration of their antifreeze by licking it rather than using a hydrometer.
Yeah, salt water is extremely corrosive. You need to flush and clean things. Yes, that is a valid point. People don't realize you should wash your car more through the winter. They all wash it in summer because they're going down the street all bling, but in the winter the salt was a killer.
Yeah, or a crap off the roads.
Yep, definitely. I've got to put that up again. Free speech, my art. I'm in charge here, says Miss Worm.
You just feel bad because you came across as a creepy pervert earlier.
Not at all. The chat had my back. It was fine. It wasn't just me. I wasn't solo. Preppers can learn from each other. Not all of us are rural landowners, hence UK urban prepper. There you go. Exactly.
Listen, we get things wrong. I do my best, and Mike does his best to make sure we fact check ourselves and try and get the best information. But you know what? We get things wrong. And if we've got something wrong, stick it in the chat. We're all here to learn. It's not just us talking at a camera. It's for everybody to get involved. Just don't be a dick about it.
Yeah. That's it. We're learning as well. Kelly I put in some great information on there before. Norfolk Preppers, when he was talking about the GB thing, I assume is the same thing. He's talking about the 1 week of gas reserve. Obviously, that's what's hitting the headlines. But you're saying the wind will pick up and take up for that. How much does that take up? Like, will that give us enough?
Well, at the moment,
we're without solar pretty much now, aren't we? At the moment,
we don't have a huge amount from solar anyway.
Yeah.
So we went for a big swing for renewables and wind turbines. If they all come on stream and we're getting good generation from them,
yeah,
swear box.
Thank you, Miss Worm.
At the moment, we're using between 50 and 55% of the the demand's getting coped with from gas-fired. And the wind today was about 1.4%. So I keep looking at these comments, it's put me off track. So long story short, the swing from gas to air will go like that, right? Yeah. If the wind comes back. So if it doesn't, and we keep depleting the gas reserves, and there's no signs of the wind coming back anytime soon, I would suggest they'll start looking at either last-ditch efforts of getting more power from the interconnectors, or getting more LNG supplies and tankers in. And if that isn't going to cope with capacity in a short space of time, then you could be looking at rolling blackouts. But that would be at the extreme end of the scale. But hopefully the wind will pick up, and that'll alleviate the strain in the gas-fired stations. And then the LNG tankers and pipelines can partially replenish the stock levels, hopefully. So that's aspirationally what I would hope would happen. But if it doesn't, we may have an issue.
The 2-hour capacity you're on about, Kelly's Eye said it's not 2 hours. That figure's based on the average house using 666 watt hours. I'm not sure what the average household uses.
Well, we use 39 kilowatts in the winter time with the heat pump, so it'll differ for you demand to demand. But that was the figures that they quoted for those 2 in Colburn that they were building. They reckoned it was enough capacity to run the houses, the figures that he'd quoted for 2 hours. So I may be wrong, but that was just what they'd said.
They've got to say something like that, right? Because if they say watt hours to people, so they'll just be like, you know, like the first time you spoke to me about solar power.
I'm sure it's on the phone somewhere. I put it on the video the other day and linked and put the picture up, so it might be on there. It should be. That was the figures that they quoted. So
it's down to a lack of wind and pressure on gas being overused. There you go.
Agreed.
Norfolk Prepper. Fear mongering by MSM. Do we think it's that's an actual good point that XP brings up. I mean, we all know the government might have a little finger in mainstream media. Why are they happy to tell everyone and you could be without power in a week? Because surely that's going to create panic buying, fuel, panic buying, stuff like that. Is it not?
I don't think so, because it's the consumer's purse that's going to pay the bills, not the government.
Yeah, but the fact that they're saying like we could be without power in a week on mainstream media, is that not going to cause a panic?
I don't think so, because it's not like you're going to be able to store it unless you've got lots of batteries. You're going to charge all of a sudden. There's limited actions that you can take if you think the power's going to go out in a week.
Yeah.
Make sure you get petrol for your generator.
Yeah. Nick Summit says you only need to be able to power essentials for short periods just to keep things going. Last thing you want when everyone else has no power is to have your house lit up like Blackpool illuminations. Brian?
I've got to be honest. That makes perfect sense, and I totally agree with you. But the last time it happened, I'd actually opened the curtains and stuck the telly on. So there was like a 75-inch telly on the screen on, the lights were on, broadband was working. But I know, I was a total chuffer. But I did say on Facebook, if anybody needed anything, or kettle boiled, or something heated up for their dinner in a microwave, just pop over.
Yeah. That's which is nice. I mean, but as preppers, at what point do you stop that? Because it's all right being the nice neighbor in the first few hours, but if that continues, they're going to expect it, right? Some people would say, don't say anything, just keep everything off. And
they would be right. From a humour point of view and tongue-in-cheek, as that was meant, that's exactly what you don't want to be doing. If power was down for a long-term scenario and you weren't anticipating getting it back, it puts you at risk.
Yeah. If every prepper got into their bean supplies, we'd have no shortage of gas or wind. There we go. Can we methane power the country? That's it. I've brought my hens into the garage because it's going to be warmer than their hen house tonight. says carriage of no return.
So many jokes. So many jokes.
We'll move swiftly on then. Your name is less so currently. When silver bigger brother is no longer available, it will become money again. All right, they're having their own conversation. This is what throws you all talking amongst yourselves. I see.
The last I saw, they were having a discussion in different types of battery chemistry and construction.
That one's for you, Brian. Although Philip now owns the swear box.
He's right. I was being a complete chopper.
Do you recall the diesel generator farms that were all the rage a few years ago?
I can tell you a story about that. One of the sites I used to work on further up north, they were bought over. And the company that bought them over put in 14 biomass, so biodiesel generator sets to supplement their factory's demand. And they switched them on, got the millions of pounds grant from the government, and then shut them off, and they've never ran since.
Excellent. Another just way to get grants, and that's your law.
Yeah, that's what they did. They took the money and ran for the hills. They've never. It's like 14 big porta cabins with the generator sets in them. They got them commissioned, tied them in, all synchronized up, ready to go, tested, signed off, took the check. They're paperweights. They've never moved since. They've never been turned on.
Yeah, there's a set of containers near me on the roadway which look very similar to something like this. I'm gonna have to get photos and do some investigation into it, because they appeared as they got permission to build a whole new housing estate, and then this block of units that look like some sort of generators, they've even got like a chimney stack at the back of each one, appeared at the same time. But I've never seen them actually running, but I don't know if it was a stipulation for their building, you know.
But it's maybe an environmental monitoring station or something. Has it got like a little anemometer on it, or is it an exhaust stack? Or...
You know, you're talking 12 of these next to each other.
Ah, right, that's not what it is then.
And it looks like, off the top of my head, it looks like a shipping container with some sort of air conditioning / heat unit, silver unit, bolted onto the back corner at the top of each one, with what looks like a chimney flue for a wood burning stove sticking up.
Sounds like generators.
Yeah, and there's a row of them. Yeah, huge.
Is there a hospital nearby, or
nope? Just
built
this new estate with affordable 5-bedroom £500,000 houses. You know.
How long's your extension cable?
This is on the way to pick the boys up, so we're talking 30 miles. I've not got an extension cable that big. But new battery tech is coming out based on silver, not lithium, vastly superior, and that stuff China is doing will make silver prices go bananas. There you go.
I was listening to an article on battery chemistry and technology yesterday, and there's different types of construction that they're to do with the expansion of the materials that they make out of it, and the plating and the processing insulators and cost. So there's loads of different ones coming out as well. It was really interesting if you want to spend an hour and a half of your life listening. So yeah, there's lots of different battery tech coming out, but whether it makes large scale production or not, I don't know.
Yeah, the ones that's in the BYD that I've got, it's like this blade battery that's supposed to last hundreds of years as opposed to like 20, and it's no cobalt and blah blah blah. No idea, but it's supposed to be good. Lucky Mac says, what I don't understand is why we haven't switched from gasoline powered vehicles to water powered vehicles. There is hydrogen vehicles out there, but nobody advertises this stuff. Do you know why? I know why. Exactly. Who do you think bought the patents for these things? You come up with a hydrogen engine or some way hydrogen power something, a whole new concept that's not already got a patent on it. And the first people to offer you big bucks will be BP, Shell, companies like that, because they know when fossil fuel reserves get right down to a point, the general public will be cut off way before we run out, because it'll be used for industry, it'll be used for military and stuff like that. When that happens, they will have to have the backup plan, and that's when they'll start releasing the BP hydro car and the BP hydro engine that Volkswagen could put in the car and stuff like that. So it is.
They could have done it decades ago.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And the reason when you see things on Top Gear like, oh, they've made this car and it runs off hydrogen, the reason it's not mass produced is because it's probably treading on a pattern that one of these petrol companies owns. So
the reason that they don't do it as well is because it would kill the economies of most of the world, because the petrodollar requires hydrocarbons to pay the tax revenues. So that's predominantly why they didn't do it. I think Mike's saying he's got one charged. I think that's
one
what probably that
charged,
means.
two charged. I've got everything's charged. All right, once bitten, twice shy. Don't forget, you guys could also use bacon grease to go ahead and create do-it-yourself candles. They smell great too. It makes your whole house smell like bacon. There you go.
I had Homer Simpson's voice in my head there when I was reading that.
Bacon.
Bacon.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's difficult though, because I mean, if it really hits the fan, do you want to be lighting bacon candles for your entire street to smell?
All that would happen with me is I'd be sitting in the dark eating the candles. That's all that would happen. The kids would be telling their mum that Dad ate the candles.
I'm scared of the dark. Well, your dad's a fuck man.
That's how it would
go. Next thing I would like when finance allow is paraffin lamps, wicks, and obviously paraffin. Not that expensive to get started, but I will say to you, Anarchy, is I got a few off Amazon. Careful what you buy. With the paraffin lanterns, cheap is not always, you know, there's not a standard on there, and the glass is wafer thin compared to decent ones. The best place for paraffin lamps is antiques places. I can go to an antiques mall, Bygone Times in Chorley, near Chorley, and that has like old solid paraffin lamps. They last so much better, they're stronger, they're built better. So just be careful when you're buying the lamps. Can't go wrong with the wicks and paraffin, obviously. I've got.
Do you not think paraffin's dead expensive?
I got a 5-litre tub. I think it was about a tenner.
That's really cheap.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it was an offer at the time. It was a prime deal, but I don't think it's all that much difference. But people that's not used paraffin before, it's an acquired taste when you're burning it. It's got a very potent smell. Yeah, it's got a very potent smell. I love it, right? It takes me back to my childhood of camping and stuff. So I don't mind it at all. Yeah. So I love it.
Paraffin kettles.
But if you've got paraffin stuff as an emergency and you've never used it, make sure you try it out. Also, if you buy a cheaper lantern, be careful. The seals on the where you fill it up, they're very brittle. If that seal goes, it's a little bomb, because you'll light it and the flame will just go everywhere, basically. So
I've bought a few of them in the paraffin and the wick kits, but I've never used them, I've got to be honest.
Well, I took the cheap one I got from Amazon to the prepper meet with the Midlands lads, and at one point the whole thing just decided to set on fire when the wind caught it funny, and then it all went out again. And I was like, yes, let's go back to the good solid antique ones. Russia have said they are buying silver top. Could be storing the company's generators altogether. Only one security team needed is the theory John's throwing out on that one. The most efficient battery you can get is diesel fuel. There you go. What's the freezing point for that, though? Do you know the numbers?
Depends the diesel, depends the quality. But minus 18, you could start having problems with waxing up.
And we're talking minus 20.
Yeah, but keep it out of the wind for a start, so the wind chill doesn't get to it. But if you've got a couple of jerry cans of diesel in the shed, you should be all right. Plus, you can get inhibitors and shit to put in them as well.
There you go. Cool.
And it won't go solid at minus 18, or it'll vary, but rye oil, never heard it. It'll just go sort of waxy.
Right.
And thick.
But is it case of when it warms again, it'll... re-liquefy. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
honey. It's the honey of the petroleum world.
You used to get it years ago with old buses and lorries and things. There's the fuel pipes went on the underside of the vehicles before they'd additives in them. That the wind chill alone in the cold, it would freeze them at the corner,
Yeah.
and they would lock up and run out
Yeah.
of fuel because it was starved at one side, not the other.
Lady J says, I have an old lantern. I'd like to convert it from oil to something less stinky.
Buy a torch.
Buy a torch. You can use like ethanol. That like but it burns more efficiently. It doesn't smell, but you do get less heat out of it. So it depends if you're wanting it for the light or the heat and stuff like that. So yeah, and change your wick before you start mixing the fuels. Paraffin is essentially home heating oil, currently 55p a litre in bulk.
I'm going to see what I paid, because I think I've been properly had my pants pulled down on that.
I think you have.
I think I have, mate. I bought some.
Mine was like an Amazon price thing, so
I'm going to check while we're on.
Yeah.
1 litre premium paraffin was, buy again. Where the fuck's it went? Currently unavailable. What did I pay for it?
Because sucker bought it and then they closed the company.
Yeah, I bought the only bottle. That's annoying. It's no showing me, but I'm sure. I'm pretty sure it was like 12, 13 quid.
For how much?
A litre.
A litre?
A litre. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had my pants pulled down on that one.
I'm pretty sure you did as well.
That's it there. Bird brand premium grade paraffin oil, 1 litre.
I'm good. Right, so I've got some empty bottles. Brian, I've got some paraffin I can sell you. A tenner a litre. Bargain.
I'm going to look. A tenner, yeah, there it is. 10 quid. 10 quid a litre.
A litre? That's just...
Yeah. Indoor and outdoor smokeless paraffin.
I mean, paraffin doesn't smoke all that much anyway. You get a bit of a black... But if you've got a decent lantern, that captures most of that anyway. I'm just
I've paid over the odds.
I've definitely paid over the odds. I'm trying to find the one I got. It must be on here.
Thanks, Miss Worm.
What she said?
Please consider subbing to Brian. He's almost at 1,000.
All right, yeah. He'll send you all the right places for your paraffin.
He really won't, by the sounds of it. That 30-day ration pack thing I ordered, that comes tomorrow.
20 quid for 4 litres there. 84 quid for 40 litres, which is 5 litres. Yeah, Brian, they definitely pulled your trousers down on that one. So
yeah, I've been trousered.
There you go. That's the one I got. That's what the guy mentioned. Rye Oil Limited paraffin. So that's why he said rye oil in the chat.
Right. I'm going
20 litres, 4 5-litre tubs, clean burn fuel for indoor heaters, $43.93 for 20 litres of it.
I see that now on Amazon. 43 quid for 20 litres.
We're just shopping with the chat here, watching us here. Let's get back to it. I'll just put the link in there for anybody else that's interested in that anyway.
Thanks, folks.
Right, let's have a quick scan down. I'm going to miss some comments here. I have an old 1950s paraffin lantern that Grandpa gave me for fishing. It's still going strong. Yeah, like I say, the antiques places, it's not just your classic storm paraffin lantern. You can get really nice fancy ones if they're for around the home. There's like big glass dish ones. There's loads of them you can get, all different styles. The old railway ones are really good, to be fair. Heating oil can be used in a Chinese diesel heater, so less than half price to run.
Oh, the red diesel.
There you go. It's heating oil. So
it's because there's no tax on it.
Yeah.
I know. Hey, listen, I fuck up now and again. Shoot me.
Can spend 12 quid on a litre of paraffin, but he's still not got himself a Prepper's Fireside mug. Shocking.
I'm
behavior.
stuck. I'm a man of creature, a man of habits.
Watch. It fits a can of Pepsi. Super Deck is the cheapest lamp oil, says John C. C1 paraffin, 5 litres should be around 30 quid, says Amphia. Dang, I missed the live, says Full of Hope. No, you didn't. You're here. We're still live. There's 137 people watching me and Brian shop.
I'll give you the short form. I've got
5 litres,
no sense.
$10.99 at B&Q, says Paul Thomas. There you go. That's your bargain. Ignore my Amazon link. I don't care about the pence. Use that one. Bargain.
They're all rubbing it in. I've bought a dud.
Oh, when somebody tell Alpha Kilo Prepper, he might forget about the charge power banks thing.
It's not likely.
It's not likely. Not red diesel. Home heating oil is perfectly legal and works fine in my Chinese heater. I've got 1,000 litres. Interesting. Does it have any sort of adverse effects, Kelly I? Like, does it wear the engine out more? Do you have to put, like when you did the old 2-stroke, do you have to add anything to it? I'd be curious, or if it just runs straight through. You're going to blow Brian's van up otherwise.
Mine draws off the main fuel tank, so I wouldn't put anything in it anyway. But it's a good shout. Now
I wonder, would one of these Chinese diesel heaters work off hydrogen as it's made? I'm not sure that.
Given it fires up using the glow plug, I wouldn't want to try it. Hydrogen in a red hot glow plug, it might go pop.
Interesting experiment to try from a distance. Oops, not 5 litres. Should be 30 to 40 pounds for 20 litres. There you go. Add some waste oil, a cupful, to each tank, 5 litres, just to be safe. There you go. Kelly, full of the knowledge. By the way, one reason molecular hydrogen is not used is because it affects and weakens metals.
Oh, hydrogen embrittlement.
There you go. You knew more than what I... You knew what he was talking about. I'm glad somebody did.
The only reason I know a little about that is when we're testing lifting equipment, we need to be careful with chain slings and things that are used in a hydrogen environment because the metal will absorb it and it becomes brittle.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So maybe that's so you can have a hydrogen fueled car if you've got a glass fuel tank, maybe. What could go wrong? I see camping stove for £19 a day in the range. Yes. So them camping stoves, I've been using one regular for the blackout videos I've been doing. They're not very durable for long-term use. I will warn people, like, because they're so cheap, if you're going to get this as a prep for a long term, get more than one, get multiple, and potentially get some spare parts. Now, the bit that seems to go on the 2 I've had, 2 different brands, 2 different price brackets, both from Amazon, the bit that seems to go is the arm that pulls the canister in to lock the gas in place. It still works, but it's weaker. It's almost like a spring that's losing its strength.
It's probably bending as you're forcing it back in to the can.
Yeah. So eventually you're blocking a gas in, and if the flame's not quite as big, and it's actually half leaking out the side. So if a flame jumps over, the whole thing will be engulfed. If you'd like to know what that looks like, speak to UK Prepper Man, because he was witnessing me explode at the Prepper meet with this when this happened, and then rescued me with a hot cup of coffee. Not literally like over the top of me. You'd like.
So the gas canister was going up in flames, and the oil lamp as well.
That's it. Yeah, I was. Don't forget to come to the Scottish Prepper meet and see if Mike survives.
We're just going to wrap you in a fire blanket.
I am an accident-prone prepper. Did you not see the hike test? And the first thing I did after a mile was cut my own finger open. It's like,
at least you're consistent.
How I survived 90 miles, I don't know. And now I'm going to be doing 232 miles. I'll take a minute to mention this, if you don't mind, because there's 130 odd people in. The charity's just been picked. We let the guys nominate their own, and we did a vote. And the charity I'm doing it for is Help for Heroes. Great cause. I'm sure you'll all agree. It was a very close race between three of them, so I'll think of something after this challenge to do for the others. But I'm going to be cycling from pretty much near my house to past Brian's house, all the way up into mid-Scotland. And I'm going to be doing this on 2 wheels with everything I need to bug out for a week. My food, my shelter, the lot. There's going to be no hotels. There's going to be nothing like that. It's going to be everything on me. So whether that's
a lot of weight.
Whether that's packed as a cycle packing on the bike, or whether I'm going to have a trailer. I've looked at the bike trailers as well as an option. I'm not sure, but it's going to be a slog. 232 miles cycling this for Help for Heroes. Doing it in the last week of May. I've got the whole week booked off to plan it. I've started training straight away. I've just put the link to the Just Giving page on the community section of my channel. So you can click on there if you want to give something to Help for Heroes. It goes straight to them. There's also a link to my PayPal if you want to help out with the actual journey. But all your support last time was awesome. So have to do another one, and I had to make it bigger. So what's your money on, Brian? Do you think I'll make it?
I don't really like cyclists, mate. I've got to be honest. But
if it's any consolation, I'm not going to be in full lycra. It's going to be a bug out situation. All right. So I'm not going to be a mammal, a middle-aged man in lycra. I'm not going to be on one of these speed races down the thing. It's going to be a full-on bike job. I don't even have a bike at the moment, just for the record. The funds I'm gathering are going to get the bike I need. I do have an emergency bike I could borrow, which is a really crappy old Halfords one, if I don't get one in time. So this challenge is happening no matter what, but it depends on what I can get.
Going by the power bank scenario and they were flat, what if the tyres are flat?
Well, I'll have spare tyres. I've done long distance cycling before, and I've done it on the canalways, and the canalways are brutal on your tyres. I did the Leeds-Liverpool canal at one point with a friend of mine, and we repaired 3 punctures, replaced 2 inner tubes, and had to stop at Halfords to get a repair because we'd ran out of spares just doing that.
Look at a guy called Mispronounced Adventures. He did the Cairngorms on an e-bike.
Yeah.
And he had an Anker C1000 power bank on the back of it to charge it with solar panels. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I need to moderate doing this as a challenge and doing what I'd actually do. So I'm not going to be going out buying loads of lightweight meals and stuff like that. I'm going to take a 24-hour British ration pack provided by yours truly. Thank you, Brian. I'm going to be taking that with me, but it's also going to be some tinned food and the stuff that I actually prep. So that's why I'm thinking the trailer, because it's going to have some weight to it. I might have to eat all my calories in the first day just so I can
Oh, God.
Eat the heaviest food first.
I know what you're saying about the tins. I'd be inclined to go for weight pouches like the Rat Packs and stuff, purely because of how you can distribute the load.
There you go. That's the next t-shirt design. Evil Girl says, new t-shirt should have "I survived the prepper meet." There we go. And Mike's fires.
Sponsored by Fireball Mike.
They call me Danger Brian.
So what's everybody's thought in the chat then? I mean, the reactions to the news about the impending gas shortage and all the other stuff that's going on and what's been posted, I mean, what does everybody think? Are they genuinely worried about it? Are they making any preps for it? Or we've had our thoughts on it and things, but
no, it's definitely want to hear everyone's opinions on it. Band again, no, I'm not using an EV bike. That was the links. Yeah, the only other link was the weather, the -20 coming up on the Friday. When did you say the wind's picking up, and how much of a crossover do you think we'll have there, Brian? I think there's a risk. They're fear mongering. We're going to run out of gas in a week. That's what people are seeing. That's what people are reading. Like,
I don't think
genuinely,
it'd be allowed to happen.
Is there a risk of power cuts at this stage?
There's always a risk of power cuts.
Based on this?
There's always a risk of power cuts, full stop, because of winter alone and storms and one thing and another and underinvestment and all that other crap and unplanned outages. But it's compounded more when the wind goes down.
Yeah.
So when the wind goes down, we lose a lot of our capacity, our generating capacity. So if we've not concerned, fair enough. If we've got a lack of capacity and we're burning through the reserves to use by using the gas, if that wind capacity doesn't come back up, we could have a problem. But I don't think it'd be allowed to get to that stage. I think they'd be taking control measures before then.
Yeah, gas demand will drop on Monday when things warm up, says John C.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of things have went wrong, and there'll be a lot of improvements on the horizon. So the temperatures that are low will rise. So heating costs will be less, energy expenditure will be lower. If the wind does eventually come back up, energy production will increase. So we should see a swing. That's the prediction, is that we should see a swing. So I'm concerned enough to talk about it. But for what I can see, it looks like it's going to partially resolve itself in the short term.
So would you prep any different this week based on the news reports we're seeing?
I already have.
Yeah.
So just read this at the same time. Yep. So the house batteries, rather than discharge, we generally charge the house batteries when it's cheap, so that we use the power when it's expensive. I've now stopped discharging the batteries at all. So the batteries are fully charged and they're kept there. And until things get a bit more settled, I will not be discharging the batteries at all. All the power banks are charged up, and I filled an extra couple of jerry cans of petrol. That's a controversial statement. I'm not even going to start on that vote.
Horace, I 100% agree with you.
Yes. I don't think that's... I don't agree that they're using this as a distraction, but I think the vote was a travesty. I think it's a convenient smokescreen, but I don't think they're hamming that up to deflect that, if I'm being honest.
Wouldn't surprise you, though, would it?
No, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, but I just don't think so. That's my personal opinion.
Not worried as I have an EcoFlow propane generator and 3 EcoFlow Delta Maxes to rotate. There you go. A man after your own heart.
I would like they're doing some really good refurbished deals on EcoFlow. They were down to about 360 quid, which is a steal, but too many other things to buy at the moment. I couldn't get one, but I've got a petrol generator, but I want to bin that for a dual fuel because the propane keeps longer. Well, it functionally keeps forever.
Don't bin it, I'll have it.
It's only a year old, that one.
Yeah. Philip Hull, margarine for me all the way. You, big question. Salted or unsalted butter? Salted. It's obvious.
Salted.
Obvious. Flavour over heart function. Always.
What makes you think that I care a jot about my body or what I consume?
Well, to be fair, margarine's the worst thing. Just throwing that out there. Margarine is an unnatural substance. We won't go into that. That's for the keto channel.
Stick to natural products like Pepsi.
Oh, God.
The smooth, natural taste of Pepsi Max.
Mike, I have a bike you can have. But we'll need a new chain and tyres. It's been left outside for 4 years.
It sounds like Tigger's brush.
Perfectly good bike. Needs a new frame, handlebars, wheels.
Here's a saddle.
On that point, though, anybody does have anything that can help me physically, by all means, chuck me an email at ukurbanprepper@gmail.com, or even better, if you'd like to sponsor the walk, then get in touch with me as well. The walk, the cycle. It'll be. I say there'll be a bit of walking involved when the hill ends up like this. So me pushing the whole thing. It's what the idiots in charge don't really plan for. Think that's bigger risk, i.e., massive price spike in gas and oil hits markets, hits UK gilts.
The gilt market's taking a kicking at the moment. They had asked the pension companies to potentially put in more money to their pots. That was earlier today.
The new flu is a smokescreen. We covered that on the news show that I did. It's an absolute joke. Amphia, I bought the dual EcoFlow. Haven't unboxed it yet. Is it okay? Is that one you've got?
No, that the dual fuel EcoFlow she's talking about is the generator.
The propane
so it can
one.
run in petrol or propane. Runs on both. Gets good reviews.
Yeah. Voting is the illusion of choice. There we go.
That's marriage.
Marriage is the illusion of free will.
It is.
Unsalted, then I can use it in my coffee.
Oh, savage, John. Savage.
No, he's right. He's right for keto.
No.
However, John, game changer. The butter's horrible. You've got to constantly stir it. Ends up with a surface. Double cream in your coffee for keto. And in your tea, cream tea. Oh, perfect. Anyway,
I'm just laughing at one of the comments.
What was that?
Mike, borrow a tandem brake and take Brian with you. Terry Scott and carry on camping. Well, that's just fucking rude. Thanks very much.
There you go. You've been challenged, Brian.
I feel personally attacked now.
UK Emperor accidentally hid Reese and Kelly I. Please reinstate them as I can't. You accidentally hid them. I don't know how I do that. I can't do that, Miss Worm, from this dashboard because I'm on StreamYard, so they'll have to wait till afterwards, I'm afraid.
Sorry, guys. We'll catch up with you.
Yeah, I do apologise. A virus only exists on paper, and the minds of ignorant germ theory has been manipulated. There you go. Tellerboy in the house. Nice to see you, Tellerboy. Tellerboy being a friend of the channel since the very start almost. I'll email you later regarding bike, mate, says Suburban Preppers. Let us know how you got on your fundraiser, Suburban Preppers, in the chat as well. Give that a shout out if you're still on target for it.
Question for the group.
You hit my comment, Miss Worm John Onion.
See if she starts singing "I'm So Lonely," I will wet myself.
Ronry. No, I can't say that. Demonetized.
Going by what we've been talking about tonight, has anybody else? I've seen that one. You cheeky bastard. Do you know I think Mike's carrying enough weight on his bike without me freewheeling at the back?
Are you pedaling, Brian? Feet up, Frey bentos in hand. Yep.
Can of Pepsi. I'm slaving away back here, Michael. Keep going.
Buttering coffee. Yes, it's a thing. Sorry, go on. You can ask a question to the group while I pan down.
Have they made, based off the fact of what we've been talking about tonight and what's been in the news and in the papers and things, has it prompted anybody else to make more preps than what they're normally doing? Is it an issue for the group? That's my kind of thing. Are you a deer stalker? A people stalker, but that tagging order's never been proven, so it's fine. No, a clay pigeon shoot, mate. I shoot clay pigeons for the most part, but I've joined a full bore rifle club as well, and I needed more cabinet space, so I'll probably be getting into a bit of practical shotgun at some point as well, and some mini rifle. So, yeah.
Monkey Wrench in the house.
Kelly!
Kelly's there. Morning all. Just in from work. God, I didn't miss it.
How you doing, mate? It's good to see you.
You survived all the storms, Kelly. We've not seen you for a while. Didn't know you'd been blown away.
He would be so lucky.
We got 440 on the GoFundMe, 25 PayPal. Thank you, everyone. Simba's operation is booked in for the end of the month. There you go. That's
Brilliant.
awesome.
Fantastic.
Superb effort, guys. We just had a delivery of gas canisters, 28 for under £27. That's probably the same deal me and
Amazon
Brian
deal.
got. Yeah.
That's a fantastic buy.
It is. And I've got gas canisters coming out of drawers galore. This is the downside when you have no room for outdoor sheds. I'm like, I live in a tinderbox at the moment. If my house went up, it'd be like the Stiller fire where all the canisters are exploding everywhere.
At least you don't have a track record of catching fire or doing anything crazy with flames.
Well, no, very well. Not officially.
Extra pot noodles.
But extra
Pot noodles a good shout.
No new preps yet.
Is that because you're not worried about it, or you've just not got round to it, just out of interest?
Yeah.
Because obviously, sorry, on you go, mate.
Sorry, been prepping since 2020. Yes, I'm stocked up with loo rolls, says Anne Lockie.
The timing of these things as well. So we're just after Christmas. It's January. A lot of people will be in a 5-week month. They might not be in a position to. They might want to buy extra preps in or make more precautions, but financially it might not be a thing. So I don't know if that's part of it as well.
Yeah, I mean,
ultimately there's a cash crisis for everybody.
I mean, everyone knows that I've got 6.5 million children, so January is not the best month for me anyway. But my preps this month centered around planning and reorganizing the preps I've got and actually taking stock of things. Don't forget, as a prepper, it doesn't mean you have to buy things every single week, every single month. Lots of prepping, lots of learning, things like that can all be done for free. So you just amuse the audience. There you go, purchased in April. I'm going to put the gas canister link in the chat.
That's a good show. I got
still there, £28.69 for 28 canisters.
I'm sure I got some not that long ago.
Yeah, I did.
Well,
I thought I did, but it says I last purchased it 4th of April. It says on mine here. The link should be in there anyway.
It's the same ones. 28th of December. Sorry, 5th of December.
Yeah.
I got 28 and then I got some about a year ago.
Zebra Prep, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Really appreciated. Every little donation does help. Do you have to store the small gas cans upright?
I don't think so, because when they're in the burner, they're horizontal.
Yeah. The ones that I get, these ones, they come sealed in like packs of 4. So there's 28 and they're all sealed in packs of 4. Genuinely, what I've done is I've got 2 big drawers. They lie down and it fits 2 back to back. So I can fit like 16 in a drawer. So it's the 2 drawers are full. And as I'm using one, I'll take the 4 out. Once it's unsealed, they're stood up. So I don't know if it makes a difference, but the ones that are unsealed, I do have stood up. How do you store yours, Brian?
Vertically, but I don't know. I just don't see it being making a major difference. No, when it's burning, not when the canister doesn't burn, but when the gas has been extracted for the canister, when it's flowing, it's horizontal. So if you weren't allowed to have them horizontal, then it wouldn't be installed in that position in the cooker, if that makes sense. That's my kind of logic.
Yeah. There you go. See, Polonium, prepping without spending a penny. I finished a full stock take and meal breakdown last week. Great thing to do, because people look at full shelves and think, oh, I've got loads of food. And depending on how many people have got in the household, once they start looking at as meals across days, across weeks, they might be surprised. No loo roll for me. I buy discount socks because I like my preps to do double duty.
I don't want to speculate on what you're using the socks for as double duty.
Also ordered some water purification tablets for SHTF. Just buying little things here and there. Yeah, you can get them. The military grade ones, dirt cheap from, is it preppershop.co.uk?
Is that the right one? In Newquay?
Is that the one where does all the ration pack stuff, but it like separate units? And stuff? Yeah, they've got like 8 in a sleeve that are the military ration ones for pence. So you can literally put an order in there, spend a tenner, and have enough water purification tablets to cover the whole street for a year.
Or buy bleach.
Susan says, "Cheers, Mike. I'll order some canisters too." I've been getting some very low power electronics such as HDMI audio extractor, DAC, and portable HDMI monitor to keep a media and Blu-ray player to less than 25 watts. There you go.
The last time I tried, when I did the 24-hour with no power thing, when I used an EcoFlow Delta 2, just the 1 kilowatt bank, you could have the telly on, the router for your Wi-Fi, a lamp, a Blu-ray player, and the Skybox, and it lasted about 5.5 hours, something like that. It's pretty good. But you could obviously lower that a lot.
But if you're talking SHTF, I doubt you'd have the full screen TV on. I got some of have you seen the little old school portable DVD players?
I've been looking at them. I quite fancy a couple.
I found some on Amazon that are rechargeable, but they also have the slot for the AA batteries as well. So you've got the 2 options for the rechargeable. And I think they're only about 40, 50 quid. I think I put them on one of the prep lists. But
some of them have got games adapters with them as well. They've got built-in controllers.
It had all sorts you could plug in, but I liked it because it had the SD card slot. So you don't have to have a DVD in there and a whole wall of DVDs. I can put a 32 gig, 64 gig SD card in there, and there you go, kids. You can watch Peppa Pig until the cows come home, So, and they take up next to no power. But the thing is if it's long-term SHTF, as much as you want to keep normality, you're just not going to be sat there on the sofa watching a full screen TV and watching Netflix and stuff like that. The sat around that DVD is going to be an hour or 2 before bed just to get people settled. So you may as well do it on that little unit.
I was talking to somebody about this. I think it was in Discord actually. Even today, when it was a particularly sunny day for winter and low temperature, we got about 6 kilowatts of charging from the sun. So that would maybe recharge most of my power banks, but it wouldn't recharge the home battery system, and it certainly wouldn't run the central heating system at all. So, and there's been days where we've had no solar at all. So in winter time especially, you're going to need to be really frugal and do some serious resource management. But you can do, we spoke about this a million times, you could have a little power bank that size and have a 5-volt strip of LEDs. They would light up your whole living room and they'll run in buttons.
Yeah. The one is in the chat that I got for the kids. I don't think it's the one that takes the batteries. I think that was from a shop itself, but this one is the one that's got the SD card slots on the side, and it's even got the USB slot, so you can bang in your USB stick or your Survivor USB stick and look at all your prepper files that you put on your Survivor USB drive. There you go. But they're cool little things anyway. Guys, when I post Amazon links, by the way, just use them for reference. If you can find them cheaper in local shops, by all means, support a local business. It's the best way to do it if you can. Like I say, I did find something similar to this for like 35 quid in a local shop to me. So just be warned, it's not always the best deal. I have lots of, it's going to make me say words when I can't speak, sphagnum moss around my local area if desperate.
Is it German moss? I have no idea what that is. I'm intrigued.
I reckon, Phil, if you come on Sunday's Prepper Fireside, we're talking all about self-sufficiency, and Dave will know lots about moss that you can eat. I'm sure it's some sort of moss you can eat. There you go. I got 500 tablets for 6 quid. There you go.
Bargain.
I think a tablet does, if it's the military grade ones, a tablet does 1.5 liters, I believe. So that's a lot. That's 750 liters of purification there for Norfolk. Quick math. I buy Pool Shock cheap so I can clean water when I need to in winter shock is cheap. Okay. I'm off to sleep in an old BT Telecoms box, 10 foot by 8 foot wide, 6 foot high. It's my workshop. I'm also building a camper trailer.
Nice.
Maybe teardrop into the wild I go. Yeah, Sab's making a project of that. He assures us we'll get some pictures at some point. But Sab's workshop also has his own YouTube channel. So if you're interested in his camper build that's going to be coming soon, make sure you head over to Sab's workshop. Miss Worm will probably post a link in the chat at some point, and check his channel out as well.
I've saw a guy that's done a similar project to his. It's going to annoy me, his channel, because I can't remember it now. But he had an old ambulance that he done into a camper, and then he got the back off an old BT van, the fiberglass section, like what I think he's talking about, and he mounted it on an old chassis, made it into a trailer, and he used it as a mobile workshop attached to his camper van. Yeah. So he bought land in Portugal and took it out there. That's bad. French MREs.
I thought that was the Italian Russians, personally.
1 forward gear and 7 reverse.
Gas canisters got superficial rust stored in a secret cubby hole, but worked fine when used. It's best to warm them slightly at room temperature indoors before use. The good thing with them little gas canisters as well that we linked, if you do have one or you can get one, not just the portable camp heater, but have you seen the portable heaters? The little, it's almost like the old Caligas fires, but they use exactly the same canister to heat up a small space as well. And we'll dispel the myth of, I think we mentioned it on the fireside, or we mentioned it just talking, people saying that I'm going to kill myself by using my camping stove in my kitchen. That's happened to people in Glastonbury when they're in a 2-man tent and they're running gas all night to stay warm. All right. In an open air house, a decent sized room, and you're just cooking a single meal, chances are it's not really going to affect you that bad. If you start feeling dizzy, stop cooking. All right. But
counter argument that to be would be, right, you've already told us twice tonight you've set yourself on fire just in one prepper meet. So with all due respect, most people probably won't get carbon monoxide problems, but you're at risk of death just by turning it on. So probably shouldn't do it, mate.
But it won't be the carbon monoxide. It'll be the fiery piece of metal that exploded from the canister into my eye.
That'll just explode.
All advice is for entertainment purposes only. We do not condone exploding yourself with any sort of camping equipment.
Nice disclaimer.
I have a Blue Yeti AC200 Max with multiple power banks. Will need ground coffee in a blackout. Been looking at paraffin heaters. You can do ground coffee without you don't need a power supply for that. You can get a manual grinder.
How do you charge the Blue Yeti out of interest if the grid is down? What are you using for solar panels and that kind of stuff out of interest? The only reason I'm asking is that if you've not got the folding ones, depending on the input that it can take, City Plumber are doing good deals on large panels, rigid panels. So you'll get like a 500 watt panel for 74 quid.
Yeah. I remember your link does that at one point, didn't you? But you've got to have it fits behind a 3-seater couch.
They're a substantial size. It's like the size of a gyprock. But that's bifacial ones as well. Yeah. I've got with the new power generator I've got from this company to review. They've sent me a folding panel, so I'll have to test that and see how good it is, because they're not that great, are they? There's nothing wrong with the panels per se. The problem is that if you're folding I saw the EcoFlow ones and a lot of the reviews, and they're having issues with delamination. So when you're folding it up, obviously with flexing all the time, you're getting bits delaminating and the covers are falling apart and stuff. So, and they're expensive.
So a wear and tear issue more than anything else.
Yeah, it is. So for the price point, for a 500 watt solar panel that folds, you could be 800 quid.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got a shed or a bit of space, spend 74 quid and slide it in and leave it there with a cover on it or something. There's a huge difference in price. The only advantage of the folding ones is space saving and portability.
Yeah. Just back on that DVD front, AD73 says an old laptop with a CD DVD player. That's great, especially if you've already got it, and it's great for around the house. The one thing I'd mention, the difference, I've got old laptops hanging around that I could use. Laptop. But the weight of this to take with me anywhere compared to them little folding DVD players is a massive factor for me. So that's what made it worth it for me. If it's just around the house, yeah, obviously recycle, reuse anything you can like that. But and there's more things to go wrong in a laptop than there is in one of those little DVD players. But yeah, just bear that in mind.
Went pretty wrong for Gary Glitter. Just saying. You're not going to have that problem with a portable DVD player.
Do you know, in May, you're not welcome on the channel, Brian, just so you know. Because in May, all the proceeds from the channel are going to the charity, and we won't be able to monetize with you in the house. Remember, bleach lasts about a year. Buy tablets. Yes, you can purify water with bleach with a few drops of bleach. Make sure you check out the ratios. It's like 2 or 3 drops per like liter. But Full of Hope is right. Bleach lasts about a year officially, but it doesn't just stop working after a year. It loses its potency. But after that point, it's going to be difficult to judge how many drops you'd need to properly purify it. So getting the tablets, getting something in place is always the number one. I did a whole video about how to purify water with bleach. Feel free to look that out, but it would always be a last resort for me. Or if you're in a situation, for example, you're not where your preps are, you're somewhere else when SHTF happens, bleach might be the only option.
Here's a question for folk. I met up with some friends of mine in Fort William a couple of days ago, and one of their family members, I was showing them power banks in the back of the van. Oh, you get that with old 3-way fridges on caravans and stuff, 12 volts, 240 and gas. They're on a propane, just at a random. And when they were looking at the power banks, I was explaining to them about prepping and why and different things. And we got onto the subject of one of their family members needed a nebulizer. So bear in mind the topic of tonight, we're talking about power failures, potential issues and shortages and things, which hopefully it won't happen. Do people take, what measures have you taken for family members with CPAP machines, that kind of stuff? Have you registered with the hydro and that kind of thing as a vulnerable person, assuming they can get you a generator if something does go wrong, along with thousands of other people? Or what kind of measures have folk taken?
I'm just going to carry Nana outside like old Yeller.
She's had a good run.
Stop, the power's back on. Too late, I've committed.
You're still holding the pillow. It's what she wanted. The pillows just get written on it, Switzerland. We're taking Nana to Switzerland and you just get this pillow in the cupboard.
Monkey Wrench, I have 64,000 songs on a flash drive, 2,000 movies on external drive, all acquired legally, of course, with cables to plug them into any cell phone, tablet, or laptop, cheap and never run out of entertainment. And what Kelly does mention, which you can see because we did a podcast, Monkey Wrench and me, if you go and look on the Prepper podcast, but that's also a tradable commodity for him. So like in long-term SHTF, he can upload them or send them to anyone via these cables and stuff like that, and that does become a tradable commodity as well. You can eat sphagnum moss too. Cut out the middleman. There you go.
I'm intrigued. I'm going to Google this once we're finished. I need to know what this is.
Water retaining moss, good for use as a sponge. Women use sphagnum moss for the time of the month in olden times. There you go.
I will not be Googling it after all.
There you go.
My interest has waned somewhat.
She's going to hate me. Thank you for that, John. I'm always after saving a few pence. I'll let Mrs. Urban Prepper know that she's no longer buying womanly things after today. I'll get a handfuls of sphagnum moss.
And that's when the chat died.
2 DVD players. I don't want to be doing jigsaws like in the 70s. Cables are $4 for any device will work. A flash drive is $10 or less for 64 gigs. Songs are free. Movies are free. Free-ish.
Where he's getting them from, they're free. Yes.
Yeah. You burn gas in a kitchen anyway if you have a gas cooker. There you go. Exactly. Yeah. It's just people. We have some lovely commenters on all of our videos, and we know that they're all experts, of course.
They weren't that lovely earlier in the chat, I've got to say.
No, me and Brian are not preppers. We're completely useless because neither of us have wood-burning stoves in our house. You know,
I would accept that I'm useless. That's fine. I don't mind that comment, but I just don't have a log burner, so shoot me.
Yeah. Maybe there's a prepper checklist that we've not checked all the boxes, so we can't claim to be a prepper. Oh no, not prepper. Nutter. Sorry, nutter, not prepper. That's the word I was thinking of. Greenhouse paraffin heaters. That's a great deal on solar panels, man. He's talking about them £80 ones, I assume. I'm so far.
I think somebody else linked ones in the chat earlier as well. I'm trying to keep track of the chat, and it's difficult.
Yeah, it is. It is. 115 people in here. I hope we've got over 115 likes at least on the video. That's free to do. Smash the like and go and check out Brian's channel as well. These lives are usually an hour long, but Brian keeps asking the chat questions. I think he doesn't want to go. Are you Ronry? Are you Ronry, Brian?
So Ronry. No, I'm conscious of the fact that you've got over 100 people in, and whilst they ask questions, you've also got people there who'll be sitting and perhaps don't want to get engaged, and I would like them to be more involved rather than, it's fine to be there and just listen and watch, but if you've got something you want to ask or you've got an opinion, I do want to hear it. Just don't be a dick.
Well, speaking of being a dick, Graham Whiting says, disabled preppers, now that's funny. Where do they live? I can take all their supplies. I know several disabled preppers, and you wouldn't get within 50 feet of their house. I assure you. Everyone can prep, and it's just about prepping around your own abilities.
How's Josh? I've not heard from him.
I've not. Anybody does know the disabled camper or Josh, or if hears anything, please let us know. It's, yeah.
It's dropped off the grid.
Yeah.
Do you want to meet my crossbow?
Problems with solar is they don't add value to the house as they are not permanent fixtures. If you move, you potentially wasted money. You need to be sure you will stay. How removable are they and takeable with you?
You could do, but it'd be a pain in the arse. I wouldn't probably bother.
Yes, Jay, I'm in Lancashire.
I would debate that they don't add value to the house, though. Because if I was selling a house, I would show them the generation figures for the last 2 years and how much money I've saved. So
I assume he's talking officially when like a estate agent comes around for a valuation. Yeah. So I assume he's talking about that. But
do you know the big problem, Phil?
What you give away free with the house, like the wife or whatever, it's the difference.
She watches the channel, so I'm not going to say anything derogatory because she'll probably hit me again. And
one day it's going to be on camera. The hand's just going to come in and go.
The hook from the side. No, just on something Phil had said there, that on adding value, the problem you're getting in some cases, they take away value because people have been offering free solar panels, but it's actually more or less acting like a second security on the property.
Yeah.
So people are having problems selling the house because they've took a deal where they're having a set of solar panels free, and they get the benefit of the generation. Any excess goes back to the installer. So there's a lot of scams coming out about this. It's not a scam because it's an open and honest contract, but it's causing problems when they go to sell the house. So just something to be aware of.
Is that where
Nothing's
they're
free.
getting the stuff put in for free, but the company that installed it gets the trickle back? Yeah.
So it's causing problems now when people are trying to sell their house and there's effectively security against it, and it's putting buyers off.
Yeah. Well, you can understand why. Yeah. Monkey Wrench, in short-term prep firewood, but in long-term grid down, where does everyone think they will get wood from to burn? Always been curious. This is an interesting question because Monkey Wrench in the States, so right, they have a much vaster wilderness in areas than we do. My thoughts on this is genuinely, I think the people that would be able to go out and fell a tree and cut up firewood are the ones that are going to be left anyway. So I think you might not have much furniture burn because they'll burn everything else, but they'll look at that big tree thinking, I don't know how to get that. What's your thoughts? Do you think we'll run out of firewood?
I think we'll run out of people before we run out of wood.
Can't burn people, Brian.
No, you can. Just not very legal. You tried to burn yourself twice in the conversation tonight or alone. No, I think the thing we've spoke about before, if people are bugging out into the wilderness and they've got the axe that they bought off Amazon, they've got the saw that they've never used, it's dark, poor light, wet slippy logs, and they're going to fell a tree and they've never done it before. It hits the tree and it bounces off the first time and slices an artery open or cuts them and they get sepsis and different things. There'll be a lot of natural selection takes place in a very short space of time. Would be my kind of gut instinct on that.
Yeah. Full of hope. My wood stove has an oven up top. I'm up to 4 sheds of wood, but I'm realistic on how long that lasts. But it looks impressive, but it moves quick. Is coal a better option to store for stuff like that? I used to have an Aga in the cottage I lived in Wales, and you'd get the fire started with kindling and wood and stuff like that. And if it was just for like on a night for ambience, I'd throw some logs on. But for cooking, for general use, I'd throw coal on because it would last a much longer and it would keep a heavy glow for a long time. See,
when you're desperate, you'll throw anything on it if it's going to give you heat. And that's the God's honest truth.
This is why I had 5 kids.
I'm sorry, but you eat too much, you're first in the fire.
But yeah, it's I think coal's a better prep for me if you've got the storage for it. Do you not think?
Again, if you can get it and you've got the capacity to store it.
Yeah.
It also opens up avenues of well, even log burners if you've got the tech or you've done it before, gasification. You might want to run an engine or generator. There's different things you can piss about with.
There's fights going on in the chat.
And that's how we got on a watch list.
In England, you silly Yanks. Most of the people in here are English, and they can speak English, unlike you. Time out. John C puts £2 in the swear box. There you go. We're doing all right. If we keep a stream going long enough and enough people swear and Miss Worms enforce it, we can pay for the channel. It's fine. My theory is that all water holes and wooded areas will be claimed by people that won't let you just take without trading. So I think we're talking long-term Teotihuacan SHTF here with something like that. But yeah, gang control. That's a scary thought, right?
Yes. I'm just reading one of the comments. If it was down now, we would not be watching. You missed the one about the low gas. No, we were talking about it earlier, mate. We were speaking about the low gas situation earlier on in the chat. It's been running for about an hour and 50 minutes now. So we'd spoke at the start about low gas and how it's going to potentially affect things. So we did try and cover it. Again, I'll reiterate, what makes you think I'm a picky eater here? Let's be blunt. See, I'm a true prepper, never mind the log burner, right?
Yeah.
I'm investing in natural fat supplies, so I'm good for about a month. I carry my preps.
And remember, in strong winds, he doesn't fall down. He just wibbles.
I just wibble and wobble.
Paul Thomas, Mike, it depends on your log burner. Yeah, definitely. The heat generated from coal is much more intense. So cast iron is the way forward. Make sure you're not burning the right thing. Full of Hope is still fighting Graham. He's gone. He's gone. Full of Hope. Leave him alone. He's gone.
That's 3 tonight so far.
That's it. Yeah, we're getting all the weird, funky people in the house. Keep going too long, and the swear box will bankrupt me. Never mind anyone else. Says Miss Worm. I think we'll about call it soon anyway, because we've been on for 2 hours. Burning anything in a populated area is a smoke signal to everyone. Dickhead, come and get me. There you go. Steve also contributing to the swear box there.
Again, with everything, there's that risk versus reward thing. I do get what you say, and it's not without merit. But there's going to come a point where you're going to have to keep yourself and your family warm. That might be that you're burning it at night time when it's going to be colder anyway, and there's less chance of seeing the smoke, although you're going to smell the smoke. But it's going to be that horrible choice between lighting a fire and potentially flagging to other people that you've got heat, or sitting in the cold, potentially.
Yeah.
It's a tough choice to make, isn't it? It's a tough choice.
Yeah,
I suppose it'll depend on your security situation at the time, where you are, location, who's round about you. Yeah, I think it's going to be situational dependent, that one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people say the same thing to me because I'm in an urban environment, but I mean, how much stuff's already going to be on fire? In that situation? This is why I have a lot of extinguishers. I may be accident prone, but I'm prepared. I'm prepared for how accident prone. Norfolk Prepper, I'm about to post a link for you. This is not mine. This is the Midlands Outdoor and Survival Group on Facebook. They run some prepper meets in the Midlands. I'll be going along to theirs when they do run them. We're trying to look at other places and other venues across the country. So if you have a venue in mind, get in touch with me, ukopenprepper@gmail.com, and we'll try and organise something. But in the meantime, they're a really good group of lads and lasses, and so go and check them out.
Thanks, Steve-O.
Yeah. Oh, and you see that super sticker from Steve. I can't highlight super sticker for some reason. It doesn't let me. It just says super sticker. But thank you, Steve, for the donation. That is really appreciated. That covers Brian's swearing for at least half an hour.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. 10 minutes. Invest in triple glazing while you can. Made a difference for us, says Jay.
I'm on the fence with that. We're due to replace our windows this year, and I don't know. So the price of it's quite a chunk of cheddar. So I don't know.
Yeah,
don't know. I'd be interested in seeing any real world examples if it made a big difference to them. I'm always keen to learn.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm email if you want.
Yeah, I'm hearing good stuff about just putting the plastic coating on the windows. You know, like the film. The reflective heat film, not the silver one.
I told you what we did.
Well, yeah, you did for the back doors. Celtex. Yeah. Thank you, Miss Worm. Yeah, thank you for all the members. We'll call it there. Before we call it, actually, first of all, Miss Worm, who has been moderating and kicking ass in the chat. I can't. Oh no.
She's a wee star.
She's awesome. She has her own channel. We can't play her advert because it's rigged up on the Fireside one. No, hang on. Let's see if this kills everyone. Suddenly we're on the Fireside.
Ta-da!
This is Miss One. There you go. Let's head back to the normal studio. Yeah, that's Miss Worm's channel. She's our awesome moderator. It's not so much prepping, but you know, go and let her put some shivers down your spines and read you some spooky stories. Great channel.
Just
Brian,
what you want if the lights are out.
119 people in here, Brian. If they've not subscribed to you, that could hit you over the 1,000 subscriber mark. Sell your channel to them. Go.
My channel's absolute bollocks. It's punctuated by swearing, social issues, and probably stuff that you don't want the kids to see. No, the last couple of videos I did a road trip around the west of Scotland, and it was just talking about bugging in versus bugging out, and the potential realities of getting from point A to point A to point B, even in a vehicle. That there's got to be a reality check, because even getting 10 miles, depending on the season, winter, summer, it could be entirely different with children, adults, and so that was the whole purpose of that one. Plus, it was a good excuse to get out in the van, test some power banks, different things. So I tend to do a lot of reviews on things that I like, things that I've bought, things that are shit, things that I've found work for me, and I enjoy doing the prepper chats. But it's shit and it's pies. Thank you so much. So that's what I tend to concentrate on, and I'll post things that more so power related when they become an issue. And I keep banging on about grid down a lot, because that's what I think is the primary threat axis. Depending on if it's been hacked, chopped, cut, failures, lack of investment, that is my kind of focus for the moment.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly.
And I'll mention it every single time. It's hilarious watching him build a Faraday cage. There you go. So
it was not. It really wasn't.
Worth a subscribe to this. So go and check out Brian's channel, Scottish Prepper 73. Let's get him past that 1,000 mark. Should be nice and easy with all you guys in here. Go and check out Miss Worm's channel. If you want something different, just take your mind off prepping. There's loads of channels in the comments, so make sure you go through them and check them sometime. Monkey Wrench has a cool channel about repairing.
Thanks,
stuff,
Kelly.
as well as he does a bit of prepping on his channel as well. Sorry, threw me off when you shouted over me there. Rude.
Sorry, mate.
Anne's just subscribed to you as well. There you go. So awesome. I don't have any plugs or videos coming up. So yeah, just
you've got your power bank to review.
I've got also got the reverse osmosis water filter to do. I just got to get around to it. I will mention, this is UK Urban Prepper official merch. No one is coming to save you. A message lots of people need to hear. I've got loads of t-shirts. I've put the link in the chat for the shop, and also our brand new Prepper's Fireside mugs, which come in 3 different sizes.
Where's my mug? Where's my mug, mate?
They fit a whole can of Pepsi inside.
I'll need to buy one.
Get the big one. You can fit 2 cans of Pepsi in. There you go. Double your Pepsi dosage. But yeah, everything on there is reasonably priced, because it's just a little bit to help out the channel. But more than anything else at the moment, go and check out the charity stuff that I'm going to be doing in May. That's more important than anything else, because Help for Heroes deserves your money more than us rambling shit. So that's the main thing to take away from this. Thank you, Brian, for joining me for 45 minutes on subject and an hour and 15 completely off subject. It's been a pleasure.
It's been the norm.
It's been the norm. Any final thoughts before we say goodbye?
No, although it's been doom and gloom at the start, I think there's some light at the end of the tunnel if things pan out in terms of temperature rises and wind speed increases. So we should be watching what's happening, but it may resolve itself.
There you go. Okay, from me, like, subscribe, all that lovely stuff. Thank you for joining the comments. Thank you for the super chatters and all the members. You really do help. And I will see you all in another video. Or we'll see you on Sunday for the fireside. So, yeah. Come back and listen to us talk more crap on Sunday. I'm
Thanks,
stalling.
Guys.
I'm stalling because I'm trying to find the button. Here it is.
Press the button, Michael. Press the button.
Goodbye.